bunnies. Use this if you want to smell like Daddy.
You never had to question if you were a man, so why give your money to a corporation that doesn't know if their products are made for men? Try Jeremy Razor's hair and body products. Jeremy shampoo and conditioner are made with tea tree oil to naturally clean and restore your hair and scalp, argan oil to soften your hair and not your masculinity, and aloe vera to moisturize the hair and scalp. It's all paraben-free, sulfate-free, phthalate-free, and most importantly, 100% woke-free. Not to mention, it smells amazing. Go to jeremyrazors.com and use my special code BURNS15 to save 15% off. That's jeremyrazors.com. Use my special code BURNS15 to save 15% off. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's episode, we are going to talk about Joel Osteen's church. He and his congregation were victims of the latest shooting. So we'll discuss that. We'll discuss the individual that was involved with that. Also, we're going to talk about Kanye West. Kanye West, they caught him walking in the airport and they asked him, how did he feel about Ukraine or something that was going on, Ukraine or Israel or the Palestine thing. But Kanye West, of course, he's an American first guy. So he said what he said. And so we'll discuss that. And also we're going to talk about, if we have time, we'll talk about the education system in Chicago and in California. Okay, so all today on Business Talks.
Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
That's right. So happy Valentine's Day. I don't know if you guys celebrate Valentine's Day, but happy Valentine's Day to you. Thank you for tuning in once again to our show today. You guys put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. I see Noble Young is in the building. Put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. And we're going to get started. The latest shooting that happened in Houston, Texas, it was at Lakewood Church, which is a mega church, home to, or the pastor is Joel Osteen. Okay, so everyone, if you're like into that space, everyone kind of knows Joel Osteen. You know, he's a very popular pastor. But this incident that happened, I believe Sunday, is kind of, the media, tells us one thing, but if you got your ear to the ground, you'll find out more than what the mainstream media is telling you. So I'm going to share with you two stories, and they're describing the incident in the same way, but the person who actually, committed this crime, they're describing her differently. Okay. So, and this, let me just share this tab with you. Strange. Okay. This is off of ABC News. ABC News, they're saying that, Lakewood Church shooting was a predictable and preventable. Suspect's former mother-in-law says. Okay, that's what they're saying. This is. I don't know if this. Yeah, this is the mother-in-law.
Preventable. And do you believe that this was preventable?
Absolutely. This was predictable and preventable. And the only reason to be able to predict something is to prevent it and take a preeminent strike against it. And that preeminent strike shouldn't have to always be in the courts.
Yeah.
It should be healing. And that's what we saw. We did family meetings with she and her mother to try find Find the place of healing. Find the place of moving forward, sake of the child. I did reach out at one point to Joel Osteen's church, asking for help for the mother and for intervention. As I would expect anyone to reach out to me if one of my congregants was in a situation that needed my intervention. And that's what I needed from him. I needed their team, and I don't know what they did.
Yeah.
I don't know
You
if
never
they
know.
were able to. And I think the tremendous guilt that any grandparent or parent feels where they haven't been able to protect a child from something so horrific has to be set aside when you're in the room with the child, so that all they feel is the hopefulness and the moving forward, that we're going to live life going out the front window, not in the rearview mirror.
So it was kind of odd the way she was talking about her, but that's the former mother-in-law of the woman accused of opening fire at the celebrity pastor church. Nothing against her, but this woman suffered from mental illness. Okay, it says despite the fact she had schizophrenia, she was allowed to own guns. You guys, just remember what I just said. This is on ABC News. Despite the fact she had schizophrenia, she was allowed to own guns. This is what this is on ABC News. This is what that mainstream media is telling us. She said the details describing the female shooter and the young boy sounded eerily similar to her former daughter-in-law and grandson, motivating her to call the Houston police Sunday evening to ask for a welfare check. On Monday morning, Carranza said the police called her back and confirmed her worst fears. Moreno, 36, had opened fire in the church, and she was taken out by some officers, according to the police. And the grandson, which is the lady who committed the crime, Carranza, her son, she ended up shooting him in the head, and he's in critical condition right now. The man believed to be the parishioner was also shot in the incident and has been released from the hospital. It is not clear if Sam and the parishioner was shot by Moreno or if they were struck by an officer's gunfire. The motive remains under investigation. Police are delving into the background of Moreno, who has a well-documented history of mental illness issues and criminal records. Okay, this was a preventable and predictable. I did reach out to the church and ask for help for the mother and for intervention, as I would expect anyone to reach out to me if one of my congregants was in the situation that needs intervention. And that's what I needed from him. I needed their team, and I don't know what they did. I don't know if they were able to. And this is what Carranza told ABC. Well, we just saw her. They said the young woman, she was wearing a hijab and she practiced Islam. That's when I guess when they first got together. She was adamant about raising her son around Jewish faith. So, it's not connecting. You're wearing a hijab, you practice Islam, but you want to be around Jewish faith, and you're Hispanic. So we know she wasn't all there. Something was misfiring in her head. Carranza and Marina's mother was a parishioner of Lakewood Church and often attended the Spanish language service, which was set to start around the time of the shooting. Okay. So she was diagnosed with schizophrenia and was on medication periodically. She said once Marina was pregnant, she stopped taking the medication and her mental health took a turn for the worse. Okay. She said that the drugs in her system, Sam was born drug exposed. Now they're not saying what type of drugs it was. Was this medication? But the CPS, they said the CPS got involved with her. And then the grandma, which is the mother-in-law, says she recalls when they was living in Colorado, her then 3-year-old grandson handed her a gun from Marino's diaper bag. And she took it and she took it to the police department. Okay. So this is a very horrific event, but this is what ABC told us. Now, if we go to Blade's, this is a small Houston, they said Southern California's LGBTQ news source. This is Los Angeles Blade's Southern California LGBTQ news source. This is what it's saying. It describes the event. Why are they writing about it? Was she a member of the LGBTQ? Reason why they will write about it, because I'm not going to read it because they're saying the exact same thing ABC News is saying. But if you go over on Cron, I'm assuming short for Chronicle, everything we know about Sunday's Lakewood shooting. The shooting or the shooter entered the church with a long rifle, and child in tow has been identified as Genesee Yvonne Moreno, according to multiple sources. She has a long rap sheet. She also identified as Jeffrey Escalante. Okay. So not only, and they're saying she identified as Jeffrey Escalante. Some of the paperwork, or I guess IDs that was found in her possession or at her home, that's how they figured out this Jeffrey Escalante. She had prior arrests for forgery, assaults, and possession of theft, evading and unlawful carrying of a weapon, according to KHOU's Jeremy Rogalowski. According to a Texas Department Public Safety records search her criminal reports, and it dates back to 2005. So remember, ABC, and this is ABC was just reporting what I guess the woman said to them. Why was she still allowed to carry a weapon? Well, lady, she wasn't still allowed to carry a weapon. She wasn't allowed to carry a weapon. She was carrying a weapon unlawfully. So, and that's what I really want to point out to people. Well, number one, Blade News, they're talking about her, right? Blade News is a LGBTQ news source. And this came out on Chronicles saying that, oh yeah, well, she identified as a man. Basically, she identified, or she went by the name, a man name. Okay. And people got upset about that. Well, we can't say she identified as a man because we don't know. She was bearing children, so we don't know if she really identified as a man. Well, what if I told you my name was Jeffrey? Okay. How'd you get the name Jeffrey? How'd you get the name Jeffrey? So that upset some people. So Blade ended up writing an article just not too long ago. They just wrote this article, and they put Houston PD shooter not trans. Live TikTok. You guys don't, if you don't know, Live TikTok, sometimes they get off. They end up getting demonetized or whatever for, the stuff that they post, because they're really, they talk about children, anti-trans, and they're not anti-trans. I think they're more anti-kids being susceptible to things that, other people might not like, puberty blockers and stuff like that. So sometimes they get their accounts demonetized on X and on, I believe they're on YouTube. I don't know if they got ever demonetized on YouTube and on TikTok, but how they have a huge following. And so they put this post out. And says, and Jeremy Rogalowski, he has a huge following. Per law enforcement records, Marino also identified as Jeffrey Escalante in the past and had prior arrests for assault, forgery, marijuana possession, theft, evading the unlawful law, carrying the weapon. Okay. And then Lib's TikTok put out, they list all the main shootings that was in mainstream and the person, how they identified. And, of course, they put non-binary, transgender, fluid, trans. These are all the people that carried out this mass shooting. The modern LGBTQ movement is radicalized our youth into becoming violent extremists. This is what Lib's TikTok put. And her name is Chaya Rakshik. I believe that's her name. And this is on Blade. Blade is saying Chaya Rakshik post had a companion extremist of anti-trans X post by Georgia Republican U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who republished a post by the far left media. Blaze TV anchor Sarah Gonzalez, both falsely claiming Marino was transgender. Gonzalez's post appeared to contain a criminal record without attribution of this source. Okay, so Blake is coming back like, hey, you guys, she didn't say she was trans. These are just her pseudo-names, because in the, I guess, how she identifies, it says female. Well, if you look at somebody's identification card, of course it's not going to say trans. Do they put trans on your ID? Or even when you get a rap sheet, do they put a trans or non-binary? No, I think they just put male or female. So of course Blade, they want to disassociate themselves from this. I guess they're saying, you're not going to put this on our community. That's what I'm assuming. That's why they wrote this, and they're saying you guys being a far right extremists. But Records don't lie. This is what it says. Jeffrey. This is the pseudo names that she has. Jeffrey. Okay. Whatever, what's false on this, she is Hispanic, and they put race white. I guess that's, what they put. I guess if you're Hispanic, they put you as white. Not for sure. You guys put it in chat. Let me know what you think. Like I said prior, the mass media is going to tell you one thing, and then they're going to tell you other things. They're trying to make a case really with these guns, to try to take away your Second Amendment right because of these things that's been happening. And of course, the media will try to spin it. Oh, she had an AK rifle. One of the newsletters I read. Oh, she had a AK AR-15. So you have an AR-15. She had a rifle, but it wasn't lawful. She owned the gun illegally, just like the other guy, that little boy that ended up trying to shoot police officers. He had a gun illegally. Number one, he's underage. And number two, he's an illegal immigrant. Okay, so they're trying to make this case of, we shouldn't have guns, period. That doesn't stop illegal gun owners. Hello, people, earth. It doesn't stop with illegal gun owners because you take away the guns. And that should only prove to you that maybe the Second Amendment right is needed. Since you're trying to defund the police, number one, you're trying to get rid of police. How will the public be able to protect themselves, protect their family, if you take away our only protection? Because if you're not available, I'm supposed to be a sitting duck. Anyway, so that's one point. And then the other point about the transgender, don't know if she identified as trans. Her bio or her rap sheet, you got a boy name. So maybe she did, maybe she didn't. I don't know. Anyway, mental illness is prevalent in the United States, and I think they need to open some more mental facilities. I really do. Let's get to some of your chats. I know I haven't looked at you. Sandy Rodriguez from California. Welcome. Get noticed with Nikki. Hey fam, Chicago here. Lenny Malley. Out of sight, out of mind is where I am viewing from. Okay. Happy Valentine's Day, MB Burke. Thank you for tuning in. Who else we got? We have a super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Or you just became a member. Thank you for joining us. Who else we got in the building? You guys, thank you for joining me. The Warrior is in the building. And Alan White. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't forget to call out anybody's name. 407E for Christ. I used to work at the jail, and they go based on your parts, and we did not have an option for Hispanic, so the officer has to use white or black. Okay, good to know. I really didn't know that. And Lamar Copeland, thank you for tuning in. Hispanic people don't need this kind of press right now. I'm afraid that American people will take things into their own hands. Well, hopefully not. I think we got some sane people out there. And I don't think Hispanics is all to blame on, you got some bad actors. Just you in every type of community. I think you have bad actors in white, black, brown, whatever. You do have some bad actors in those communities. The one thing I do agree with Lamar is, since we having this immigration problem, people are looking at and hopefully people have the common sense not to put everybody in a bucket. You can't just assume that a Latina or Latino or Hispanic is over here illegally. Warning, do not do that, you guys, because that's very ignorant. You can't just assume because of somebody you can't assume that they're from Venezuela because they speak with a Spanish accent. So don't assume that. That would be really ridiculous. Okay. So they don't need the heat, but just because we have this border crisis and everybody's looking to, oh, here comes this Hispanic again. But this happened, remember, this is a repeat. This happened back, remember 9/11? Everybody was like, if you had a hijab on, you had a turban on, like, oh my God, you had one of those long beards. If you look any close thing to Osama bin Laden or Saddam Hussein, they're like, oh my God, are you going to search this person? Are you going to search this person? And I could remember, my name is Chawanne. I could remember every time I flew on an airline, I would get the extra security check. I don't have a Muslim name. The name is not Muslim. I think it's more Indian than anything, but I would get pulled aside and they do an extra security check on me. I don't know. Maybe it was just a luck of the draw. I didn't get offended. I was willing, and I wasn't like, oh my God, you're checking me. You're being racist. No, I just thought, okay, 9/11 just happened. So I'm willing and able for you to, I'm not going to cause a fuss because I want to be safe. Anywho, so our next story, we had Kanye West. Let me make sure I'm running on time. Kanye West was walking in the airport, and they asked him, hey, Kanye, what do you think about those Palestinians? And Kanye being Kanye, he was like, I don't give a damn about no damn Palestinians. He didn't say it that way, but this is basically what he said. Kanye West gets asked about the Israel-Palestine conflict. And Kanye West says, I got 14 kids dying every week in my city. So talk to me about that. Right on, my brother. I really love that response.
You crazy and misinformed.
Palestinians. Your thoughts on Palestinians?
You crazy and misinformed.
Palestinians.
What'd you say?
Your thoughts on the Palestinians?
I don't have enough information on that. I'm straight up from south side of Chicago, born in Atlanta. I don't have enough information. It's love for everybody, but don't pull me to that conversation. I got 14 kids dying every week in my city. You know what I'm saying? So talk to me about that.
Yes. All right, thank you, Kanye.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you, Kanye.
Kanye said, yeah, I don't got enough information. Good, very intelligent answer. But we got kids dying in our neighborhood. Talk to me about that. We can't control what they doing way over there, and we can't even control what's going on over here. We have children, babies dying in the street, killing each other. And I commend him. American first. This is an American first guy. I mean, some people don't like Kanye, but Kanye is an American first guy. That's why he rocks with Trump. So I commend him for saying that. Now, talking about Chicago and kids. Education failed. Not a single child tested proficient in math in 67 Illinois schools. For reading is 32. 67 schools. Not one kid tested proficient. Not one kid. It says last week, Elon Musk's Vivek Ramaswamy, Jordan Peterson helped expose the failures of Illinois' public education system on X. Their engagement with Wirepoint's Illinois Education 2022. Not a single student can do math at grade level in 53 schools. For reading is 30 schools. We're talking about all these overseas conflicts, but what we're really facing here is failure. We are failing our kids. We're genuinely failing our children because they can't read. They can't do math proficiently. My son, he hates math. He was like, Mommy, and he's 8. Mommy, I don't like math and I hate it. More dramatic than that, but that's what he said. And I was like, hey, we don't like a lot of stuff, but we got to learn math. We got to learn math. I mean, you have to learn math. I'm sorry. I didn't say you got to be a mathematician or a physicist, but you got to be able to get out my house. I will fail as a parent if my children are not able to proficiently read and proficiently do math. I will fail as a mother. So we're failing. And I'm not saying just you guys, I'm talking about everybody. Every adult that's walking around that's able to vote, we are failing our kids because we're putting people in place that don't give a damn about our kids. And the reason why I'm saying that, look at this. Now, most of these schools are in Chicago, okay? Most of these schools are in Chicago, and I wanted to highlight one thing about this. Well, two things, a couple of things. You have some schools that's operating at a 93% graduation rate, 76% graduation rate. You got some in the 80s, 80 graduation rate. Okay. Why do you have a high graduation rate and your kids can't read? I question this. Your kid, and no, I'm sorry. Let me digress. This is math. Your kids can't do math, but you have a high graduation rate. What are you preparing them for? Even if they want to do skills trades require for you to be proficient in fractions, at least. Fractions, some geometry. That's high school math. So you're telling me you got a 93% graduation rate. Let me enlarge it. Oh, my bad. You got a 93% graduation rate. Where was it at? Right here. Kayne Medical Prep High School, 93% graduation rate. And 0 of your kids could do math at proficient level. You might be like, Chawanne, well, you can't hold them back forever. So you're just going to fail the kids. And this is a medical prep academy high school. So these kids are going to be working on bodies, live people. They probably aspiring to be a nurse. They're probably aspiring to be a doctor. We're going to take medical assistant. But if they're going into medical prep high school, they're going at high school level, medical prep. You need to be proficient in math. You might like biology, but in college, you got to take calculus. You got to take that MSAT if you're trying to get to medical school. Anyway, how are you going to calculate the percentage of dosage if you can't if you don't know math? This is what I'm getting at. Okay. Another thing I want to point out is so Kayne Medical Prep High School operates on a budget of $21,000 a kid. So each year they get $21,000 a kid. That's about normal, I guess. But you got some of these schools, they operating at a budget. Look at this school. Uplift Community High School, $50,000 a kid. And none of your kids can read. We're giving this school, and I'm saying I'm talking about the taxpayers in Chicago, giving this school $50,000 per kid. And Brandon Johnson, remember I showed you that story. Brandon Johnson trying to take away the requirements, the test requirements to get into some of these preparatory high schools, these really elite schools. He's taking that away, but they don't believe in open enrollment either. They don't believe that. But your kid, they're graduating at a 70% graduation rate and 0% in proficiency in math. That is, you guys put in the chat, am I going in the wrong direction? Isn't that a little bit extreme? That is extreme to me, that your kids can't read. I love my ad block is in the building. We have Germany in the building. Thank you for tuning in once again. All eyes on me. The shooter was a man. Yeah, well, we don't know. She identified as a man and a boy, or in a woman. So I'm not for sure. She had a baby too. So, The Warrior, Kanye has nothing holding him back now. His new album is off the chain. Yeah, I heard his new album it is pretty good. I love it. You said my son, Sandy Rodriguez. My sons are great in math, not me. You know, after a certain level, you can't help your kids. You probably got to give them a tutor. You know, it's like, okay. At a certain, well, not me. I could just imagine. See, I'm an engineer, so I had to take all the maths. So math is not a problem with me. But I could just imagine a parent that didn't have to take math, you know, really. And then you got your kids, they'd be like, Mom, can you help me with this problem? And you got to Google it. You got to look. Oh, let's look it up on YouTube, son. And that will be but literally, it shouldn't be a problem you helping your kids in math or whatever the case, whatever the subject, because literally they have everything on YouTube in high level math. You can even TikTok, high level math on TikTok. You could get there's an algebra and calculus TikTok channel and YouTube. So it's like this is free. So you can actually help your kids in math, even though you don't know what to do with. You know, you can give them a live instructor on YouTube. Anyway, a warrior said, I hated math until I learned that is how they figure my paychecks. Ding, 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 ding. Paychecks. Paychecks. You know, literally, that's how my son, he loves fancy stuff. He be talking about the Lamborghini. I remember my husband bought them a fake gold chain, you know, the thick gold chain that, you know, back in the day in the 80s, they used to wear. It was fake, but my husband bought him one. He was walking around rapping and stuff, thought he had a thick gold chain. And so he likes fancy stuff. And I told him, hey, you know, Chase, if you can't be rich and don't know how to count money, that doesn't make any sense. Somebody's gonna like end up stealing from you or what. It doesn't go hand in hand. You know, you don't know how to count money, you'll end up in the poorhouse eventually. Don't know how to count money and don't know how to manage money. Anyway, so that's kind of what I usually motivate with him, but it only goes so far. So back to this chart, just one more thing I want to point out on this. Let me see. So Collins Academy High School on Chicago's west side, with 219 students, 55 employees, Collins spends $27,000 per student. The Illinois State Board of Education declares the school commendable, the state's second highest rating. Not a single student tested was proficient in reading and math in 2023. And yet 79% of the students graduated. Lawndale Prep, Charter Christina spends over $20,000 per kid, and it has 308 students. It's also rated commendable by the state. Not a single student tested was proficient in math, and only one student tested proficient in reading. Graduation rate at 85%. This is sad, you guys. A lot of city of Chicago, zero kids are at grade level. 0 kids. And this is 9th through 12th. 9th through 12th. Crazy. 9th through 12th grade, and they cannot read. And they spending $50,000 per kid. That there's some serious corruption. There has to be some corruption. How do you spend that much on a kid and your kid can't read? What are you doing? Teaching students the basic of reading and math is a bare minimum function of an education system. Unfortunately, an increasing number of Illinois schools can't even accomplish that. Pre-COVID, there were 21 zero schools and 37 zero math schools in Illinois. And this is just so baffling to me. Just zero other kids, none of the kids in the entire school is excelling at anything. In 2023, that grew to 32 and 67 respectively. This is not the only thing. Okay, so this is Chicago. They're saying it's Illinois, but Chicago was the majority of these schools, okay? It has a few other schools, Kankakee, Merodiosa, Chamberburg, elementary and high school. So that, I guess that whole place sucks, both of the schools in there. But what I was getting at, you have nobody reading at grade level. Nobody is reading at or doing math at grade level. That's what proficient is. Proficient is at grade level. Nobody's doing that. We have a problem. So that's Illinois, and then California. This just came out. This came out yesterday. It says 250K woke kindergarten program fails California school. Last spring, just under 12% of the students were at grade level in English. Just 12%.
Welcome to Fall.
And it says San Francisco Bay Area school has cut ties with the woke kindergarten after nationwide backlash against the program's curriculum and its founder's statement. Glassbrook Elementary. Okay, let me let him talk right here.
People who got paid for the woke kindergarten program are the only ones who are making out okay in that story. Jimmy Fallon, host of Fox News Saturday Night, Fox Across America on Fox News Radio, and a great friend to this show. So good to see you, Jimmy.
It is great to see you. And it is a shame this program didn't work. It sounds like so much fun for the kids.
Doesn't it? I mean, it's really uplifting.
Who doesn't like to go to kindergarten and play pin the tail on the oppressor? You know, I always know that helps me focus in school. This is the problem with every one of these woke initiatives, no matter what grade level it's happening at. As you know, it's not teaching people how to think. It's just teaching them what to think. They're beholden to the agenda of whoever's implementing the curriculum, but the people implementing the curriculum don't factor in the prosperity of the kids on any level. This is about recruiting to an ideology. This is not about math. This is not about reading, which is why they're not proficient. And what I'm trying to get parents to wake up and realize is we're in a bitterly partisan time in America, but there are certain issues like education and crime. They get politicized, but they're not political. Meaning we all need to be safe. When it comes to crime, we all need intelligent kids. And this idea that the people who are on the globalist side of everything are also the ones failing our kids at a curriculum level, they're really operating with an indifference to the long-range prosperity of these kids. You know, it's terrible to say, but that's where we are.
No, they don't. They don't care about. They have to understand their mission. As a teacher, your mission is to make sure that children at that age are beginning to read. Right? There are benchmarks that you expect. That is not one of them, and it's showing up in their scores. I want to go forward to the Grammys because we were talking about this during the break. Because I think that what happened last night in the Grammys. Award shows have been really bad for the past many years, and I got a bunch of texts last night. Are you watching this?
Yeah.
I turned it on. I thought it's actually a good awards show.
They actually did.
Okay, they're talking about the Grammys. Who cares? So just about that program. Is saying the woke kindergarten, Akia Gross, has shared social media posts indicating she thinks America and Israel have no right to exist and wants to see the world free of those countries. Y'all are the villains. We've been trying to end y'all. She wrote of them. I use the word y'all. I use the word y'all. But come on now. Why? It's always some black nut job. Black woman. This is a black woman talking this crazy shit. We will continue to support Glassbrook Elementary School as its teachers, staff, administrators proceed with the work of supporting the students and families in the community. Anti-bias, anti-racist teaching, restorative practices, multi-language learning, literacy, mathematics will remain the focus of Glassbrook, building on the work that the school has undertaken over the past several years. The spokesman said that even as the district terminates the contract, it still asserts that the woke kindergarten curriculum was mischaracterized. I guess they was paying $20,000 a kid. The controversy over the program, including the widespread media attention, the mischaracterization of the woke kindergarten work. Why they? I know they're not calling the program. California is not calling the program woke kindergarten. Fox is calling it. Fox is calling it woke kindergarten program. Like, just call it what the program is. It's supposed to have been a reading program or what? You could say, oh, it's the woke agenda, but you keep on saying woke kindergarten program. It's like, and it's kind of, taking me off when I'm reading it. So Fox News is crazy. Anyway, we conclude that now was an appropriate time to terminate the contract. The school has reportedly received threatening and racist messages in the wake of the news coverage.
When you shop on Amazon.com, there's a good chance you're buying
Why would somebody send threatening messages to the school because they canceled the program because it wasn't doing the kids any good? Why would you get mad about that?
Going to spend $20,000 on a woke kindergarten consultant group. The group's curriculum includes anti-racist and anti-bias training, queer and trans liberation, and how to disrupt whiteness and colonial narratives. Dr. Hamadi, a California father of two and board certified.
You guys, this is a program. Okay, so it is called woke. Why was it mischaracterized? How's it being racist? This is a kindergarten. This is a kindergarten school. I'm lost for words. I don't even know what to say about this. This is really crazy. This is so. This is why Governor Gavin Newsom shouldn't be president. I know, some talk. They talking about Michelle Obama and whatever, but look at California, the state that they're in. Their kids are failing too, and they're spending money. They want to invest money into this type of stuff. And kids, they're literally babies. These kids that's in kindergarten would like breastfeeding not too long ago. They just literally started walking. Some of them can't even spell the name properly, probably because they're 5-year-olds. They're just learning how to read. And we could say some of them probably still don't know how to read in California. We could say that. And then you want to spend $20,000 on anti-racist, anti-bias training, pro-Black, queer, and trans liberation. Disrupt whiteness, settler, colonial narratives,
Queer and trans liberation, and how to disrupt whiteness and colonial narratives. Dr. Houman Hamadi, a California father of two and board certified medical doctor, joins me now. Doc, this consulting group not hiding the ball, literally. They call themselves woke kindergarten, call themselves global abolitionists. How harmful is it to expose a 5-year-old to this stuff?
As a parent of a 6-year-old who just finished kindergarten several months ago, I'll tell you this. Children need, at that age, to be exposed to things that are age appropriate. They don't have the neurocognitive ability to make any sense of or process things that talk about these sorts of issues, right? At this age, they need to learn how to socialize. They need to learn how to play. They need to learn how to read and write. They need to learn how to do basic calculations, build things, and understand how the world works. Their brains are not accustomed to this. They're not able to process these things. And to them, these sorts of issues just simply take away from the very limited time they have in class, right? They're not in class 8 hours a day. They're maybe in class 3 or 4 hours a day. These issues take away from the ability for teachers to actually teach them what they need to learn and to give them time to play and socialize.
I mean, this district decided to spend taxpayer money on this. Doesn't this district realize that while they're pushing this kind of nonsense, the Chinese are pushing things like, math and science,
mathematics,
them much better
science
against us in the world economy?
You would think that this would be an obvious thing, right, to focus on core academics as well as all the social aspects. You look at kindergarten reform, and there's actually a movement to really improve kindergarten. My own daughter's teacher, Mr. Kurt Schwengel, in the Santa Monica School District here where I am, he's pioneered something called Occupy Kindergarten. He's become nationally renowned. He's actually trying to make kindergarten reform by making kindergarten fun. He teaches units like Star Wars, Pirates, baseball, all sorts of things, right? Brings in these fun concepts to have the kids really engage with the curriculum. Doesn't bring in things that are age inappropriate, uses things that are actually fun for them, that allows the kids to really grasp the material. By bringing in these more adult topics, things that are actually frankly inappropriate, not just adult, they take away from that ability. They tell the kids, let's focus on things that bring in negativity and call them to question everything they're believing, right? And to me, that's not productive for the kids. It's actually taking away from their ability to learn and be kids.
California is the least literate state in the nation. As two people who went through part of the UC system, both of us did UCLA for a time in our educations. Why is all this shenanigan happening there in California?
You know, California, like the current political atmosphere of California, is that they believe wholeheartedly that they're somehow at the crux of change. That California is leading the way to changing every aspect of society, education included, right? They want to start with children and get them when they're young. The problem is that this is not necessarily the positive type of change that we need. Like I talked about before, right. Yes, education can be improved, but this is not the way to do it. The way to do it is by getting students to engage. And if you look at California's public school district enrollment numbers, they're plummeting. The state has lost hundreds of thousands of students. And these are not kids who are going into private school.
Right.
These are kids who are dropping out of education altogether. What does that mean for us? It means we're going to get more poverty, more homelessness,
agreed,
greater economic inequalities, things that they talk about combating, but they're actually contributing to it by simply driving kids out of the public school system and into nothing.
Got to leave it there.
Right.
Dr. Houman Hamadi, I use shenanigan as a singular. I blame the California public school system for that lapse.
Yeah, you know, the quickest way out of poverty, one generation literally, is to get an education and to major in something that it's high value, like STEM. I was watching, it was TikTok or whatever it was, but it was a little boy, Chinese boy. He was adding 3-digit numbers, 3 or 4 of them in a row, adding them together in his head. He didn't pick up not one piece of paper or a pencil. He just was adding it in his head and writing it down. That's how far advanced. Now, China got it right. China is trying to surpass our gross GDP, our GDP. And we are decreasing our GDP because we don't have smart enough kids to take on these tech jobs. We don't have, and we got to outsource them. Tech jobs, these STEM jobs, a few years back, they were saying they had a doctor's shortage. And we got a skills trade shortage too. So people, not only you have companies and stuff divesting in the DEI program, they starting to figure out is a bunch of crap. Now you have children. Children is like, that's why we got Chicago. Children are like, hell, why go to school? They ain't teaching me nothing. I can't find a job. I'm not going to be able to find a job. So why the hell go to school? You teaching me DEI stuff and how to feel about some things that don't make sense right now. I just want to color and play. Hello, I want to color and you trying to teach me about abolitionists. I don't know what the hell you talking about. Like, come on, let the kids be kids. People need to stop. They need to stop. So you guys, I'm done with the talk today. I really appreciate every single last one of you. Lenny saying their liberal brainwashing agenda. Your children are most impressionable in their younger days. Yeah, they're trying to have young kids, protesting at, I guess, 14 now, instead of, when you get like really swing to your own ideology, especially in college, around 18, because that's when you start talking to your friends and you're like, you pick up a cause that doesn't make any sense. Oh, and literally, if you've been in college and you took some courses that And it's usually the elective courses that end up swinging your mind some crazy way. And you're just like, fight for, the whales or whatever, because you took this course and you really believe in this. Or some of your friends that you hang out, they want to save the environment. They want to save the ducks, So they're trying to get them really young so they could start protesting at 14 and 15. I guess. That's my only take on it. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Anyway. And you're right, it's nothing less than indoctrination and brainwashing. Lexi, it does sound like a host. A drag time story for kindergartens coming on, people. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about that. Finger painting, recess out the dorm. Need big shake up to realign normal behavior. Yeah. Lamar Copeland says, all we need in kindergarten was play, or all we did in kindergarten was play, and we tuned out good. My wife and I were in the same class. Oh, that's nice to know your wife your whole, like literally your entire life. That's beautiful. We are to protect our children and not to expose them to this type of stuff. And you know what? And I can't imagine what type of parents or people that went to this particular school, you're going to send racist stuff to the school because they cancel the crazy program that shouldn't even been in the school in the first place. This is like a college thing that you teach. You're trying to indoctrinate the kids literally to hate white people at an early age. And they ain't did nothing to you. Creepy. Okay. You guys, thank you for tuning in once again. I really appreciate every single last one of you. We'll be back at it tomorrow at 1:30. Okay, so I am sending all my good to you. I will talk to you soon.